of Inspiring Solutions Private Limited and Maxwell's Learnings. He is member of Executive Board of Ford School of Management, Delhi. He worked with Onida as Chief Executive Officer till Feb 2014. He was earlier the Director of LG Electronics India, looking after a business of rupees 8,000 crores, approximately USD 1.2 billion. In 1997 as Vice President. In 2008, he was the first non-Korean to be elevated as executive in LG Global hierarchy. Dr. Verma, as an engineer, graduate with post-graduation in Business Administration and PhD in area of organization behavior from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. He was rated as heretic by Business Today and Gallup and covered on cover page of Business Today, a prestigious business magazine in India in 1997. First non-Korean to be elevated in global hierarchy as executive, he has delivered several lectures in India and abroad and has addressed boards, leadership, teams of prestigious companies in India and abroad with ITC, JP Group, Ispat Group, Bangkok, Italy, JE, etc. He has visited London Business School and Wharton Management School, Philippines, for guest lectures, in addition to premier management institutes in India. He has been conferred honorary fellowship by All India Management Association for significant contribution towards professional management. He was President Consumer Electronics and Appliances Manufacturers for 2009 to 2011. He was authored a book, Passion, The Untold Story of LG Electronics. He is also the honorary editor for Journal of Projective Psychology and Mental Health by Anchorage, USA. Dear friends, without standing any further between you and chief guest on the occasion, please welcome Dr. Y.D. Varma.
I am really privileged to be invited here. Dr. V.P. Singh, Dr. Thakur, Dr. P.V. Singh, Mr. Rishi Raj, and Mr. Samant, ladies and gentlemen. Glass ceilings are everywhere. We have to learn to take them, and I'll give you one or two examples that even I was connected. But everything has to be understood in a perspective. Golda Meir, when she was the Prime Minister of Israel, she visited US when Ronald Reagan was the President. And she told him, Mr. President, if you can give me 2 generals, I will rule the world. So Ronald Reagan asked her, which 2 generals are you talking about? She said, I have the 2 best warrior generals in Israel. You give me General Electric and General Motor, I will rule the world. Now this is the scenario, how the businesses are taking over societies. How the businesses are changing the values of the society, and how the businesses are taking over the economies of the country. And that is why, in this perspective, what has business been? I've been heading businesses. I was in HR for a number of years. And let me tell you, business is no more business. Business is a war. Either you win it or you lose it. So issues like diversity and so many other things, I give you different countries examples where I've been exposed to, take a back seat. I give you 2-3 examples. When LG started in India, BPL was at the top. There was some problem, within 1 year BPL died down. Number 2, unexpected and things which are happening in the business. People, American Apparels recently, the CEO was a lady. She was fired by the independent board of directors. Never heard of in any part of the world. And you cannot imagine it in India for another couple of decades. For various reasons, logical reasons. Electrolux, which was a market leader in consumer durables and garden appliances till a decade back, its turnover, revenue turnover was 65% from the consumer durables with a loss of about 25%. and 35% from garden appliances, with a profit of more than 45%, decided to sell its brand of consumer durables. And without demeaning any brand in India, as a matter of fact, it sold its brand to Videocon without taking any money. That was a master deal, financial deal on part of Videocon. But this is what is business. Chorus, which had a market share of 22%, was taken over by Tata Steel with a market share of 7 to 8%. Now this is very unpredictable things which are happening. Nokia, which was a market leader in mobile, because of which the Finland, the unemployment, because it has closed and it has sold over a lot of portion to Microsoft, it is reducing. Out of 76,000 in Finland, they reduced the employment to 44,000. Finland is suffering with huge unemployment problem. But these type of issues, diversity and many other issues take a back seat, because survival becomes something which is very important. It is performance, and every year the expectation of the stakeholders of the performance from the CEOs is going up and up and up. I'll give you an example. Business Today comes out every year with 50 young CEOs, less than 45 or 40 years of age, and a jury is appointed to nominate them. 5 years back, I was looking into a list of the 50 people, and I happened to know personally about 60 to 70% of them. Out of those 60 to 70% who were rated as the best CEOs, 80% lost their job in the next 9 months. When performance is becoming so, it's like a war game, such things do take a backseat. But let me also tell you, there's one company in India which is employing the maximum number of working women in the whole world. Can you believe it? TCS. TCS has 32.7% lady employees, whereas number 2 is Facebook with 31% global. And number 3 is Google with 30%. Another thing, there are a lot of global CEOs and the top 2%, among the top 3%, and you will be amazed to know that the most prestigious companies. Number 1, HP, Meg Whitman. She is the CEO. And you know how much is her worth? Her worth is $1.9 billion US. Sheryl Sandberg, who visited recently India, the COO of Facebook. The famous case because of which it has come. Recently, Sheryl Sandberg joined in Silicon Valley from Google to Facebook, and she took a number of employees along with her. And as a result, and before that also Adobe, and I have written an article in Business World which will come out in next series, is where 64,000 engineers went. So this was a type of class ceiling which is wanted to create. Adobe, Intel, Microsoft, and one more company. They made a contract among themselves. They will not recruit anyone who is working in each other's company. These things can be tolerated in India. In Silicon Valley, 64,000 engineers and programmers went to the court against these 4 companies and their own employees that it's an illegal thing, and they won the case. They have won $342 million. So this $342 million, except for the judges' fee, etc., will be paid to these 64,000 people. So these type of glass ceilings, where the jurisdiction, where the judges, where the judiciary is playing an important role, don't exist, or they cease to exist. Melissa Merritt, she is the CEO of Yahoo. She is a lady. Jimmy Rometty, CEO of IBM. Ursula, today, there was an interview. HP CEO is a lady. Safra Catz, President and CFO, Oracle. And so on, so forth. All their packages are about $300 to $400 million. Not in billions, but their assets are more than billions of US dollars. 1 billion means how much? US dollars, 6,000 crores. So this is the type of thing. So wherever there has been a merit, these things are happening. But in India, there was a beautiful thing which he put it Similarly, if you find that only 8.8% women are on the board of NSE listed companies. Another study showed that in management roles, 8, only 1 woman was there, and in senior executive, out of 20, only 1 woman is there. Recently, government has taken out a law that in every board, there has to be 1 lady director. Now there is a huge dearth of lady directors. And how the law is twisted. Ambani's, they made Nita Ambani as a lady director. She is a lady. But they should have an independent director. Unfortunately, in this Companies Law Act, which has come in 2013 October, they have not mentioned the definition of relatives. Idea was to have more and more lady directors, not the wife of the promoter. This is what it has happened. There are researches. Researches in US and Europe have shown, at least 10 researches which have been quoted in Harvard Business School, is that wherever there is a gender diversity, those companies' average performance is higher than the other companies. And number 2, in a credit Swiss Research Institute in Switzerland, also that out of 2360 companies in 2005 to 2012, which they had done, there were 1 women director, minimum 1 women director in this 2,360 companies, and they found that their average performance was 25% better than the performance of the companies where there were no women in the board. Seeing this, let me also explain you some of the experiences which I personally faced. In LG Electronics, where I was there for 17, 18 years and maybe one of the founders in India, there were about 22% lady employees because incidentally, assembly line the ladies work much better. It's proven fact. So we were there, but overall LG globally was only 10%. In year 2008, there was a drive. At that time, LG decided to globalize and internationalize and make people who are non-Koreans come to the bigger positions. What Unilever did 30 years back, or what P&G did 20 years back. And that time there was a huge drive by the corporate soul that we have to increase it. We were about more than 20%, so our target was fixed to 30% in 1 year. We achieved 25-26%. But the issue was again very similar. Availability of people at various levels. What Dr. VP Singh said. Availability of ladies. Because I remember when I was young and the students, here you think, I think the diversity is around 50% or 40%. In our time, there were girls, but they were maybe 4 or 5 in a batch of 30 or 40. And most of them dropped their career. Some became actresses, some became something else, etc. They changed their whole career profile. And this is what it is. I still remember when we used to recruit from various best institutes in India, the ratio mix is changing in a very big way. And in another 10 to 15 years, things will start changing. But I have also seen that ladies will have to be given a differential treatment. I am quite amazed when people say that you should get paternal leave. When you are having a kid, the father should get paternal leave. I think more important is when they are having a child, a lady woman is having a child, more than 12 weeks or 13 weeks, whatever is maternity act, it should be much more than that. And I think it should be minimum 9 months to 1 year. And this is what, sorry? There is no law accordingly.
There is directive by Government of India.
2
years for 2 children for a year.
No private company follows it.
Yes.
And I don't think any PSU also follows it.
It does.
Okay, let me come to the point. We have followed, and I can give you an example. When 2 or 3 ladies, we gave that 1 year leave, they are in LG, in a tough company. They are general managers in a 12 years, 13 years time. I know of a lady, Elizabeth Taylor. She was a director of Oracle in training. There were 2 directors and a vice president at a senior level there in an American company. And she told me when we were there for a training, that they have to leave, she leaves the office at 4 o'clock. And whereas the other director, who was a gentleman, he leaves the office at 7 o'clock. So I asked her, how do you manage your work? Because she was a single lady, a single parent mother. She said, when my son sleeps after 9 o'clock, I work for 2 to 3 hours from my house. So this is extra. Life is tougher for ladies. With the nuclear family happening in India, I am seeing that 30 to 40% ladies are dropping from the career or taking a break of 5 to 6 years. And this gives them a big jolt in your career. But on the other side, there are countries where 3 years military training is a must. South Korea and many other countries. Ladies are having a major edge because same age lady is 3 years senior to a person who joins the corporate sector after 3 years of army training. And there in Singapore, in South Korea and a few other countries, in China, the ladies with the same age are the bosses of the men who are joining a corporate sector. So these type of things are also happening in various ways. I have dealt with a lot of people during interviews at CEO. I said in for CEO's level interviews and so many. And let me tell you, when it is a comparison merit-wise, if the skills are there, then I find the women much better candidate. And it is established and it is talked about with same skill level. This is a survey which I had done verbally with about 8 or 10 people before coming here, that they are more articulate, they are more focused, they are more logical, better team player and less politicians as compared to men. Might be my personal bias, but whenever I had to put any person in a very, very sensitive job, where a person might tend to get a corrupt, might get to have a lot of, gifts and all, I used to keep a girl there, lady there. I have a strong belief their tendency to get corrupt is very, very low as compared to men. These are major advantages. And these things, a lot of companies, as unwritten rule, are practicing that. Another trend I tell you, in China, in the workers level, they were huge. They were 50-50 ratio till 3 years back of ladies and men. And now it has become 66% and 33%. 66% are men. And the finding which has come up is they have become more vocal and there are more trade unions which have emerged and more strikes are happening because most of the trade union leaders, more than 90% of the trade union leaders are men now. So this is again a finding which is bothering the Chinese people and they are trying to recruit more and more people. In a country like Norway, there is a rule that they have to be 40% lady directors in the board. And if a company does not have 40%, they close the company. And they have more than 40%. In India, just now we have a rule of 1 lady director. France has 29.7%. Highest is in Norway. France has about 29.7% and Italy has about 24%. But in US, China, and most of the Southeast countries, there is no rule and there is no change in increasing women in the board because there is no law about that and they are not bothered about it. But the 3 points which Dr. V.P. Singh said are the most crucial. And if you see over the year, these things are getting covered are getting improved. And one-sided competition of men and women will change to a two-sided equal level of competition in another 10 years. So boys and men, be aware that the other side is more stronger inherently than you. They didn't have enough opportunity, or there were some issues because the upbringing of the girls and boys, there is no differentiation now in the big cities. And these are the people who are going, and the choice for jobs will be much more restricted for the men. There might be a glass ceiling which instead of women might go against men after 15 to 20 years. Thank you very much.
Valuable insights and great pearls of wisdom. We are grossly inspired by our deliberation, which will be highly instrumental in our future journey. As said, like diamonds are for